Hello, party people. Welcome to Fine Time. Welcome to the fine and the time in video game land, Kevin.
Video game land has been dropped for a few shows. I wasn't sure if it was coming back. I thought maybe you went to therapy and you said my number one problem is I can't stop saying video game land, and you promised you would, but
I mean, I did forget about it. It has went, but it came back to me during this intro. Steve, have you ever been to video game land?
Some people think I've never left.
Didn't Video Game Land open today as of this recording? The Mario, the Universal Studios?
I think it is open now, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we can talk about video games. What do you guys think?
Nah, it's been kind of a week, you know. My back's a bit out from the shoveling, and maybe we just call it an early night.
Okay, good night, everybody. Just kidding. We're right here. We're gonna talk video game. Jeez, don't freak out. Don't turn that dial. Do people still say that even though it's a podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think they do.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. No, we won't. Who's gonna confirm that for us?
Let us know in the comments if you still hear. Don't touch that dial around.
But even on the radio, you don't hear don't touch that dial, because we don't dial in the station. We just do the digital button, 101 point. When I was a kid, I thought that was sorcery. The first time I saw that in a car, the actual numbers on the dash of holy shit, we're listening to this station. We're not I don't have to turn a dial.
You're talking the LCD display, not the fucking 8-inch wide little red line that physically moves around to show you what station you're on.
Exactly. But those used to be in cars too, before they had the digital thing.
Used to, he says, to a person that had many used cars that would still have such an apparatus.
I'm talking to Kevin, the youngin of the show, who may have never seen it.
He's only 2 years younger than me.
we had an Oldsmobile Delta 88 growing up, and that definitely had the fat physical radio tuner and the wood grain. You know what I thought was really the pinnacle of class was the first time I seen a circular analog clock built into the dash of a vehicle. That was
yeah.
I kind of want to get one of those now and put it just a $15 one on Amazon and just Dremel. I'll just get a fucking used watch and Dremel it into the dash of my vehicle so everybody knows how classy I am.
That's amazing. Yeah, I never really thought about that one, but that is a touch of class. Mm-hmm. Do we still do hood ornaments you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I haven't seen one in years.
Yeah, I think they get stolen too much.
Pretty much.
I feel like luxury cars still have them, but it felt like for a while in the 80s and 90s, every car had them.
No, I believe you, but wire cutters are all it takes.
Yeah, but I feel like that went away with antennas. Remember, you used to have the actual antenna on the car to get reception, the literal and some would be powered antennas where they would pop up as you turned on the car.
Telescopic ones.
Yeah. That was fucking amazing. I thought that was sorcery again the first time I saw that. Cars are sorcery.
Anybody under 25 that listens to this has no fucking clue about any of this.
Yeah, well, they're
also
learning.
Probably their bedtime. Go to bed, kids. You got school in the morning.
Let us tell you when we had to ride donkeys to go to school.
Oh my God. I was in California. We rode I don't know, what did Californians ride? We rode a pink flamingo to school. That's what we did.
Do you each get your own or do you have to share?
Oh no. We each got our own. They're like chocobos. You can't ride two to a chocobo.
I always just assumed everybody in California surfed to school.
Oh yeah, I did that too.
Okay.
I absolutely did that.
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough. How about we talk about video games, maybe? I guess I'll start as I usually do. I have been playing Octopath 2. Cannot talk about that right now because that whole game is a spoiler. Me and Steve will do a post-game show on that game sometime in the future. But what I've also been playing is Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Came out the same day as Octopath 2, guys. God, dude, give me a break here. I meant to beat this game before this recording. I didn't get to because I had a terrible migraine last night. So I didn't really feel like looking at the TV, unfortunately. But I'm almost done with it, so I can speak on most of it. As I'm sure anyone or most of the people listening to this at this point, I was out on Nintendo in 2012. Like big time. I was like, fuck this. So I wasn't buying any of their games. So therefore, I pretty much skipped Return to Dreamland. I remember it coming out, but I just didn't play it. And now's my chance, I guess. Plus, I wasn't really into the idea of like Return to Dreamland. Maybe I was just thrown by like Donkey Kong Country Returns because like, I don't know about you guys. I don't think that game is any good. So
the 3DS version is better.
And that's the version I didn't think was very good. So, like, maybe I should never play the Wii version.
It's pretty waggly.
Yeah, I not my thing. So, before I get into this, I remember when this first surfaced, I was like, "Oh, that's the canceled Kirby GameCube game that we never got, right?" But I guess that's not really the case, Steve.
I did the same thing a decade ago. It's finally coming. The GameCube Kirby game is finally coming, and then they did an Iwata Asks interview because that was what they did at the time. Iwata would talk to developers about games that were coming out. They're like, no, this actually isn't that game. We were actually knocking around a whole lot of Kirby games at the time. And they had like they showed that and a bunch of other ideas that didn't quite make it in between on GameCube and Wii, including an early 3D attempt. And if you look back at the trailer, a better look at the GameCube trailer that's all over, but not all over. You can look it up on YouTube now. They were doing the Star Allies brainwashing Star thing back then. So I think they had a whole bunch of ideas knocking around before shoving it and just spreading all these ideas around all over the place to where we are now.
Well, I remember the character stacking thing that made it into Triple Deluxe. Because I remember for the Kirby GameCube trailer, that was the thing I remember the most was the character stacking. That, and then when I saw that in Triple Deluxe, I was like, oh, okay, so I guess you're right. They really did spread those ideas around. I guess with Return to Dreamland, I want to start with the music because, goddamn, like, it's not just the quality of the compositions, which are very quality coming out of, if you remember, after Amazing Mirror, we just had a period of like, what the DS game where you draw the lines. What the hell is that called? Canvas Curse. Squeak Squad. I think that game blows. Mass Attack. I don't know what that is. Like, we just had a period of Kirby where it's like I don't get it.
Also Superstar Ultra, but who's counting other than Steve, right?
Nah, I obviously wasn't interested in that either. So like, yeah, Return to Dreamland, I guess I get the name, but you know, I thought it was going to be a retread, but it's not. These compositions in this game are like, you know, I was almost cringing when I loaded the game. I was like, oh, here comes green greens. You know what I mean? Like when you play a Sonic game nowadays, it's like, I'm going to have to hear Green Hill Zone a fucking again. Right. But that wasn't the case. All the music in this game is original and excellent. And it's just produced so well. All the synths have this like zippy sound to it. The drums pop in a way that's satisfying, and I feel this credo has continued even today, all the way through Forgotten Land. So it started here, really. This game was the genesis of like all the great games, quite frankly, that we've gotten in the last 12-ish years afterwards. I'm really glad, as I said, I'm glad the music wasn't a retread. I'm glad the game isn't a retread too. Again, Return to Dreamland. You're only thinking one thing. It's like, oh, okay, right? But no, you don't start out in some place where, you know, it's like super familiar. You don't start out in a Green Greens. You start out in, what is it called? Cookie Country. Onion Ocean. There's an Onion Ocean. There's Raisin Ruins. Fuck yeah for food, everybody. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, I know Kirby's always been about the food gradually as time has gone on, but like Cookie Country, you can't beat it. Would you rather live in Cookie Country or Onion Ocean, Kevin?
Well, I mean, taste-wise, I would rather live in cookie country, but once again, my diabetic would force me to live in Onion Ocean.
Yeah.
See, I understand the rent's still pretty good at Butter Tower.
Ooh. That sounds like a place in Fallout 3 for some reason. Isn't there a place in Fallout 3 where you have to, like, the ghouls want to live in the tower there, and the people there are, like, hella racist? Like, we don't want any ghouls living here. And then you convince the ghouls to let them live there, and the ghouls just kill everybody. Which is great. Anyway, yeah, the graphics... Yeah, look, it's a Wii title, and it shows its roots as a Wii title, but honestly, it doesn't look super dated because it's a very stylized game. You know, the characters, I think the big difference, and I looked at the comparison video to remind myself, the characters now on the Switch version have this very thick outline to them and like more cell shaded. Because I don't think they were quite cell shaded on the Wii version. This one has like a totally different look to the characters with the thick outline and the cell shading, and I really enjoy that look. I think it is a big improvement. Maybe it's something that I wanted to do at the time, but they couldn't to keep that 60 frames a second or something on Wii, which, you know, was an impressive feat considering the kind of game it is. But yeah, I think this is like such a worthy upgrade. I can't speak to all the like mini game stuff. I know like they added a bunch as Kirby games usually do, but I'm sure they were dependent on like Wii Waggle and stuff. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I just imagine that they were. And do you know that for sure, Steve?
Andre, I was there at the time, and I barely remember the mini games.
Okay, jeez. I mean, way to give me all the information on the game. At a moment's
no
notice.
one has this information, Andre. It's been lost to the ages.
Okay, what even is a Wii? Yeah, it's as far as a port job. Again, I can't speak to. I didn't play the original, but you know, this I compared the graphics and it looks great. The real weakness of this game is that the bosses aren't really that good. I don't think. They just kind of feel like, you know, like mid bosses where you fight bonkers or you fight like whatever and you just get their power and you move on. The quote unquote real bosses feel like that too. And again, maybe at this point I'm spoiled by like Forgotten Land, where you have the bosses in that game are just insane, or shit, even stuff like Robobot where the bosses are a lot more involved. I don't know. These don't feel very, they're just guys that you womp on with your sword or something and they die. Not very exciting, but whatever. Not a huge deal. But it started a string of Kirby games that I think is the best period in the series history. I think it's better than most of the 90s games, or, you know, I think so. The level designs also have this like level of professionalism that I really enjoy, almost like when you're listening to a band on their like 6th or 7th record, you know what I mean? When they really know what they're doing and they're still being really creative and shit. And it's like, let's just do the thing that we do best, like REM in the 90s or something, right? Like you just really get that professionalism meets like just very inventive game design that feels obviously very familiar. It's definitely Kirby, but I just can't imagine it being done better by anyone else. They just kept this string of games going along. So yeah, I guess I'm glad I played this. I don't know what else to say about Kirby, for fuck's sake, but you also, Steve, have played a little thing Kevin has been fucking begging us about for like how many episodes now? I don't even remember. I think this dates back to last year, maybe.
But how long did it take you? The time investment was incredibly slim.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, it's called Minit. M-I-N-A-T, Minit.
Because they had to be real fancy about it.
I don't know about it. I don't think anything in this game is fancy, but, you know, whatever.
Well, you know, it's been time. It's been sitting in my Switch SD slot because, you know, Devolver sales and the sort. But you do a lot of repeating in this game, even though, you know, Kevin's repeated that we need to play Minute, and that's what you do in the game. We repeat the same Minute again and again and again. We start out in a top-down perspective, and we get a sword clearly to make that happy Zelda chemical in our brain flow a bit. And we're supposed to just inch ourselves closer and closer to our goal at the cursed sword factory, and it's neat, but the rules of those 60 seconds can feel a little inconsistent, and your character isn't the most responsive feeling at first, and you sort of eventually get into a flow of what you're supposed to do. You make the different spawn points and whatever. Eventually the game not finally, it's over.
Yeah, it's over. I think I want to say, first of all, this is going to sound like a diss, but it's not. I am glad it was over before I could get sick of it, because as you can imagine, doing this sort of thing over and over is very especially if you get stuck. I want to talk about how long you took, because you took less time than me.
Not by much.
Not by much. I found more things. Here's the fucking problem. I got stuck for damn near 40 minutes on something because I didn't know what to do. That's why it took so long. Otherwise, I probably would have taken less time than you. I was so close to looking it up. I was like, well, fuck this. I don't know what else. You know what I mean? And I finally did. It's the thing where you have to I couldn't find the last guy to get to the hotel. And he's like, he's hanging out with bandits. And I'm like, well, I don't know where the fuck that is. And then I guess one of those guys doesn't look like a bandit when you go on that screen. Okay, sorry. I guess I was supposed to notice that in this black and white graphics or whatever, right? Excuse me. I didn't notice. I
had a hard time with the one guy that pops up after you kill two other guys in the water. Because one guy killed me afterwards, and then some guy popped up. I'm like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen. And then I died and go back, and I had to do that again.
What, the guy, he's in the lake, and he says blub? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that I just sort of happened by accident, so... that thing you just said, I found by accident. I just happened to kill. I just happened to kill him last. Yeah, so you can imagine how I got stuck on that. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then, I didn't mean to find more things than you, but I just bumbled around the map enough to where I did that. But I guess I like that if you really want to do that, you can. You don't have to find all that stuff. But if you really I didn't find all the tentacles for the octopus, I don't think, or I don't even know what happens if you do that.
I just feel it's at odds with the whole you have a minute to live thing, because they give you that percentage at the end, but who really cares, because it's way too frantic to actually keep track of. It's not like Metroid where you can study the path and then blaze a path to glory in another playthrough. You have to I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old for this sort of thing. I don't know. I'm not going to not recommend the game, but I'm also never going to play it again.
No, I don't think anyone, it's kind of a one-shot thing, right? I think it's only $10. We played it on PlayStation Royale with cheese, but I think it's only $10 on Switch or something that I looked up. And I think it's totally worth that for a couple hours of fun. It was fun. I don't mean to shit on this game. I did enjoy my time with it. It was just kind of lightweight by nature, right? I mean, that's just kind of the game. I did like it. It was a sword factory, and it was very go screw the man over. That was funny, I guess. I
liked the line at the sword factory that there's however many other people screwed over like you.
Yeah, was that what that was supposed to imply? Because I didn't really get that room at all.
Why else would you have a line that long?
I have no idea. I didn't really read into it, I guess. Anyway, yeah, Minit. I was going to do a gimmick where we each had 60 seconds to talk about the game, but I figured that was stupid. I want you to know, though, that I did think about doing that.
I'll just press B and then say I did think it was cute that it recorded how many minutes you spent at the end of the game. Yeah. I think mine was 116 minutes and however many seconds at the end.
Mine said 134 or something like that. Yeah, because I spent a lot of those minutes I don't see any bandits over here, so I guess I'll bumble around some more. Yeah, if I didn't get stuck on that one thing, I think maybe my impression of this would be somewhat higher. Not that it's low, but that's a thing, right? It's so hard to balance because it's what do? You can't make it too easy, but you also don't want it to be obtuse because you only have a fucking minute to figure things out, right? So getting that balance was and I think 90% of the time they succeeded. So with their gimmick game, and that gimmick is not a pejorative in this case, I think they did it well. It's as good as a game like this can be. That also sounds backhanded. God, everything I say about this game sounds
I think these are all valid criticisms. I think the underlying point, if this was an 8-hour game, it would be a fucking terrible idea.
Oh no. I would never want that. Never want that.
And at that point, it'd be like, Kevin, this is worse than Crossing Souls. Why the hell would you recommend this to us?
You guys ever play Half Minute Hero on like PS3?
I've heard of it. I never played it.
Okay,
I haven't played it either.
Okay, well, never mind. But but yeah, I don't know. Minute, yeah, you got $10 and you like a short indie game, I'd recommend it.
And I think that is on sale quite often on the Switch eShop as well. So if you're patient, you can probably nab that for like $3.
I think that's how I had it sitting on there.
And again, if you have PlayStation Plus Royale with cheese like we do, it's free. So go ahead, go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it. Go for ambition. That will be funny to two people. Kevin, you had last time you talked about Hogwarts Legacy. I think now you have finished Hogwarts Legacy.
I have. I wound up, I think last time I was at 17 hours. My final playtime was at 28 hours. And I did have some strong thoughts after last show that I felt like I just needed to bring back a little bit here. So last show I talked about how everything felt unique and handcrafted. And I want to walk that back a little bit. Still, I think that especially within the castle and most of the overworld, that's relevant. And not even in an aesthetic way, but there's a lot of like outside of the castle dungeon type areas aesthetically that you can tell they worked to differentiate them, but gameplay wise, they felt very consistent, even lengthwise. So it kind of, to a degree, boiled down to doing the same thing over and over. And I was quite unmotivated to do them by the end. This game has not a ton of side missions, but very lengthy ones where there's like fairly long stories. And I wound up abandoning a couple of those that I had spent like quite a few hours originally, pursuing, just because I think I had enough mostly of those dungeons by the end. So I felt like, to be fair, I needed to walk back that handcrafted comment a little bit. I also wanted to talk, this game gets way darker than I would have expected by far. There's one mission where a house elf wants you to like go check on his friend because he hasn't heard from him for a while. And you go into one of these samey dungeons I was just talking about, and by the time you get to the end, you just find his fucking dead, slumped over body like laying on the floor.
Oh boy.
Yeah, which was
if only these dungeons looked a little different, you could have found his friend a little sooner.
Well, they didn't all have dead house elves in them, so I guess aesthetically that was a bonus. I was shocked when I hit it.
That is Dead House Elves is a 1995 record by Pavement. Right? 90s indie rock for sure, right? Dinosaur Jr.
I don't know. Is that indies rock, or is this like Cradle of Filth? Like,
oh, like metal? Dead I don't know.
But like super like rough grindcore metal.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like kind of like alternative hard, like Deftones or something. I don't know, like that kind of thing. Maybe. Yeah. I like
go either way. In addition to that, yeah, there's like multiple like on-screen like murders, students, your player using like torture curses on each other. It wasn't offensive by any means. I just was surprised at how comfortable they felt getting that heavy with some of the content.
I mean, it is rated teen. I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. I figured it was going to be like an E10 or something like that. I was like, oh, it's rated teen. They might do a couple, and it sounds like that is the case. So,
well, even I get maybe just like in retrospect, thinking back on the movies, I think the later ones got heavier for sure. But just I guess when I think about like the Harry Potter universe, it feels very like E10 to me.
Yeah, some of the later ones were rated PG-13. As opposed to PG. So I think they got like, as things went along. Yeah.
Yeah. They definitely pushed that way here as well. So again, I just, one thing I wanted really that kind of bothered me at the end, technically this game ran fine pretty much the entire time. But by the time I got to the final boss, which I won't ruin if anybody does want to play this.
I'm sorry. You're playing on PS5?
Playing on PS5, yeah.
Okay.
Or no, sorry, no. Playing on Series X.
Okay, see, because that's the one that has the problems.
Oh, does it have problems?
Yeah, opposed to PS5. Yeah. So
I should look into that because but really like technically no problems I really had throughout the game other than some of the minor aesthetic issues I mentioned last time. But yeah, the final boss just like frame rate wise, this ran like shit. It just felt very stuttery, and it's a fairly large open area, and it's very like bombastic and visually appealing, or meant to be. But it'll be really interesting to see how this goes over when they port this to Switch, because I don't think that final boss has a chance in hell, to the point where I wonder if they're going to have to like actually alter like the arena you're playing in and a number of the effects to the point where it's not really recognizable, because on Series X it was rough.
You're playing performance mode, right? Or ray tracing at 30?
To be honest, I don't even remember looking into if this game had a selection between modes. I left it on stock, whatever it was. I didn't. Yep. Okay, I didn't. Fuck
it does
with it, so
only because I watched a Digital Foundry on it, and there's like a lot of different modes. They even do. I think they even do the 120 frames a second where you can play at 40 frames a second. I think they even do that. So so you can do a lot of different stuff with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is on stock, but whatever it came on,
probably
it
performance. Left. Probably performance.
I would think so. I think usually things are set on performance by default. So I guess long story short, by the time this is over, when I hit that 28 hours, I was definitely ready. I don't want to paint this like I think it is a bad game, because I don't, and I think there's definitely something interesting here, and there's some really good unique sections, but I think a lot of what you go into this game expecting is probably what you're going to take out of it. If this is something that seems very appealing, it is. If it seems like it's not going to be appealing, then you're probably right about that. It's a competent open world game, but like I said, I sure didn't want to take on every side quest by the end.
You were just like, I am done. I get that. I get to that point too sometimes, like especially when playing like a Fallout or a Skyrim. I hit my like 100 hours or something, not like strictly or something, but I usually get around that point. It's like, I just want to beat the game. You know what I mean? Let's just do this, And
but a good like that, you can have a good open world game that will incentivize you to go way beyond 30-ish hours for sure.
Right.
It's a real problem.
Well, we'll take a break and we'll be back with Nintendo financials and other big questions. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Kevin might be able to tell you what we did, but I'm going to keep it to myself because I'm a modest man.
Well, I would never. Why would you act like I would be the rat?
Because, we'd like to tell everyone our shower habits these days. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're no closer to helping Steve choose a game to talk about on next show. So don't worry about that.
Well, that's not what we were talking about in the shower. Fuck.
Yeah, jeez. We were arguing about, what were we doing last time? Starry. We were arguing about Starry in the shower. Oh, no, not Starry. Ghoul Patrol. That's what you didn't like. I was like, well, I think that's fine. We can do that in the shower.
These are the weirdest fucking showers, man.
Look, you gotta talk about something. Wouldn't it be weird, okay, if we were all showering together and we were dead silent, like not saying a single word? Like, that's weird.
Wouldn't it just be weird if we were all showering together?
No, that's not weird at all, Steve. Okay?
I mean, the silence definitely makes it weirder.
Yeah, okay, you got to talk about something. Jeez. Okay. We have a few big questions, not many, not a whole lot happened. We had the big direct extravaganza last time. No such luck this time. There was a state of play. We'll get to some of that. But first, I want to talk about this. Because Nintendo confirmed that they will not be at E3 2023. They released a short statement that amounted to like, LOL, nope. I don't think so, dog. Like, basically. So that's the first shoe to drop. Obviously, this was rumored by IGN last month that no one's showing up, and Nintendo has confirmed this. But I'll ask you guys this. If Sony doesn't show up again, like they haven't since, 2018, shouldn't Microsoft take this moment and, like, literal stage floor to themselves? Like, I think that could be great for them, Kevin.
I don't. What is the actual benefit to being at E3 physically? I mean, I think everybody kind of needs to come together to have like one big week of video game news, whether it's show floor attendance or not. I think if Microsoft did opt to do that, but then Sony and Nintendo just later in the summer had a big news drop, does that do for Microsoft what it would have done at a traditional E3? Because I don't think so.
You know me, I always think show attendance is important. I think in-person stuff is important. Think about what's happening this week with the Final Fantasy 16 previews. As you've seen, a whole bunch of journalists got to play it and embargo broke. Like, I think that stuff is important. Everyone's talking about the game now. And from the show, I've been talking about people should be able to play this Final Fantasy 16. I've been saying that for a long time. I think that stuff is very important. But if Microsoft can have a big booth there and have a big ta-da, they don't know nobody else stealing their thunder. They will easily be the biggest thing there. I don't know, Steve. I really feel like, I don't know, if I were them, I'd show up. Why not? I'll be the only guy at the ball.
Well, I'm kind of with Kevin on this because this already feels like a farce. Let's say they do show up. Is anyone else showing up? Are there any third-party exhibitors at all? Or is just where ReedPop just happened to get the name E3 and they just kind of hoped everyone was going to fall in line? Because this is starting to sound an awful lot like the Intellivision Amico of game expos.
Oh, my God.
where we just got the name E3 and they're like, well, we're going to have Nintendo and the PlayStation and the Microsoft and the Capcom, and they're all going to come play with us. None of these people are coming to play with us.
Fuck, Steve is swinging below the belt with the Amico reference.
Yeah, what happened? Remember 5 years ago? Like, we had, Smash Ultimate was unveiled big time in painstaking detail by Sakurai, and we had, like, The Last of Us Part 2 was shown. Sony had that very strange E3. Remember that one where the people had to go to the 4 different exhibits or whatever, and they had, like, this weird thing? It was such a big deal. And they had to break
for, like, 20 minutes in between each one just to move everybody.
Yeah, and they had, like, people playing real instruments on stage. And then, now 5 years later, Steve, you're calling it the Intellivision Amico of video game exhibitions. What the hell's going on?
I don't know other than what everyone else has pointed out. And Kevin brings up an important point too. If everyone else isn't there, what's the point? High tide rises all boats. Remember, I'm going to really show my age here. Remember Nintendo Space World?
Of course.
Yeah, a show where only Nintendo shit was shown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was fun for us to read, but how many rah-rahs did Nintendo get from that back in the day that they don't do anymore?
I feel like that shit was really important. People, especially, remember when the GameCube was unveiled and they showed, like, I mean, it's the whole reason why people got mad at Zelda, right? Like, Space World was important.
That shit was important, but in an age where the Nintendo Direct commands, like, absolutely more respect than any other way of making announcements, does it carry the same weight at all? I just personally, it just makes me sad because I really like having a week with all the news from everybody to, sit there and chew on. I don't really care what format it comes in. If Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo and anybody else that wants, you could just get together and say, hey, within this 1 week, announce all your shit. That would be just fine. It doesn't need to be one organized thing.
And if it's just Microsoft and Ubisoft, it's going to be embarrassing.
Is it though? I see. I don't think that it is. I would show up if I were Microsoft.
I almost feel like that's like more embarrassing for Microsoft, where like, you know, the Nintendo and Sony have both said we've got better things to do, and then they're like, well, you know, you can still watch us if you want. we've got a bright new shiny Starfield to show you.
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah, imagine Microsoft shows up to E3 and is like, oh, by the way, none of this shit's coming out this Christmas.
So I guess to your point, Andre, why, like you say that it is important for this stuff to happen in person, but like what do you think is the tangible benefit to actually doing that in person? So even you know, talking about Final Fantasy, as opposed, you know, if they just like sent out self-contained demos, I mean, functionally, I feel like that achieves the same effect.
I don't think it does, because it's the developer. You're talking to the developer too. You're going to LA or wherever the fuck Square does their shit in the United States nowadays. I'm pretty sure it's LA, and it's a thing. It may be individualized. It's not E3 or something, but like they do that at E3 as well. They have behind closed doors. Okay, when you come to E3, you can view this or that. If you're, you know what I mean, we'll show, you know, behind closed doors. That's a thing at E3 as well. So I think there's something to it. It's hard for me to totally verbalize it, but I really do think that it's not the same of just getting, here's a secret disc for your PS5 to play like Final Fantasy 16, like the preview version of, or something. Like I just don't think that's the same thing.
Do you know what I think, Steve?
What do you think, Kevin?
I think Andre got to go to E3 one time, and he just feels like he's a fucking big shot. And we are peasants, so he's got the ability to tell us why E3 is important, because we don't know. We haven't been there.
Yes, we've only read about it in our magazines and read it and watched it on our home PCs.
Yes, my one E3 in 2006. That definitely means
where you brush shoulders with the Miyamoto himself.
Although I literally did, yes, but that, you know, it's not like I got to talk to him. It's a sad ending. It's a very sad ending. Let's keep on this Nintendo thing and talk about their financials. We wanted to talk about this last time, but we ran out of time because we just blabbed so much about the Direct. So again, we always do these a la carte. Guys, take your pick. I mean, I just kind of want to start with like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 52 million fucking copies? Are you joking? Animal Crossing New Horizons, 41 million copies? Get out of here. You guys know that City Folk on Wii sold didn't even crack 2 million. It sold 1.7 million copies, and that was the Wii. Okay? Yeah. Get out of here with these numbers, guys. I just never thought, never in my wildest dreams. I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, if it really catches fire, it could sell 10 million copies. I never thought 40 million copies of Animal Crossing would ever happen. That's just crazy to me.
Well, I think New Leaf did something like 3 million copies, and I thought 10 would be easy for New Horizons, but after the pandemic, forget it. Sky was the limit.
Yeah. I mean, look, the pandemic helped, but this isn't just pandemic numbers. This game is continuing to sell, you know, It's wild with these numbers. You get anything jump off the page to you guys here? I guess Bayonetta 3 cracked 1 mil, Steve. I'm actually surprised to see that.
Somehow. Big, you know, action game of the year, you know, when you buy a victory, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. Kevin, what really jumps out at you on this page?
I think I said this last time we talked about financials, but Switch Sports is now over 8 million, and that one just constantly blows me away. Well, I didn't even feel like they really marketed it that heavily. I didn't feel like most people really gave a shit when it came out. No, I'm not slandering it. I'm not saying like it was just a trash title. I just didn't feel like that enthusiasm was there from Nintendo's side or the consumer side. So the fact that it hit 8 million is staggering. The other thing, am I out of line feeling like Mario Odyssey sitting at 25 million just feels a little bit shallow just in comparison to these other numbers? I mean, Breath of the Wild is at 29, right? We've also got Smash Bros. Ultimate, Animal Crossing, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe over that. Does that, is a mainline 3D premier Mario game just not quite command quite what it used to? Is that...
Again, I think the best comp for this is Wii. Mario Odyssey here, that's 25 mil. That's more than both Galaxy games combined. So if we're talking about like mainline Mario games, it's just kind of what they sell. Odyssey is well beyond that. Like I think Galaxy 2 only sold like 5 million compared to like Galaxy 1's like 9, 10, something like that. So like again, this is more than both of those combined. So I think we're just kind of seeing numbers that are just astronomical and dwarfing like Mario and Zelda.
It's just hard to see the forest for the trees sometimes.
Yeah.
I kind of, and maybe this is my long-standing bias, which I did previously walk back. I don't hate Mario Galaxy, but did people like somewhat look at those titles as a little bit like not one, like Mario Odyssey is like undoubtedly like the mainline premier 3D Mario game. Mario Galaxy to me at the time felt like it was just like a little bit of like a not a side thing. It just was a little bit off from being like the mainstream 3D Mario. Is that just me?
I think so. I definitely didn't feel that way at the time, Steve. I mean, I felt like that was a Mario-ass Mario game.
That was a very Mario-ass Mario game. We were excited as fuck for that at my job.
There was the space motif. I'm fucking telling
You're
you.
still not over it. Well, I'll tell you this, like, it's maybe, again, Wii U, but like, I 3D World to me feels that way. That's what I can't put in my brain is like, that's the mainline game here? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's a mainline game either, because that one was very much like structured level wise as like traditional 2D Marios were. So that was kind of its own thing too. I guess there's not really like a direct through line for any of these. I guess once you start at Mario 64, it kind of zigzags all over the place thematically. So
yeah. But yeah,
as it probably should.
Yeah, but that again, it's an incredible number for a mainline Mario title, which props up all the other stuff. Without Mario Odyssey, nobody cares about Mario Party or Mario Kart or anything else, right? So you kind of need those, even though those games might sell more. Mainline is always your springboard, and I like that Nintendo doesn't forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
They really put the effort in that matters. Splatoon 3 is over 10 mil. Holy shit. Again, going back to Switch Sports, you were saying, I remember saying to you at the time, like, yeah, like people are going to care about this, and I remember kind of being like, no, I really do think. Now, 8 million is a lot, but by the way, can we all give it up for Kirby and the Forgotten Land over 6 million? I am so glad people are playing this game and loving it.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for Kirby.
What do you got, Steve? Anything jump off the page here?
Well, yeah. How about, despite everyone complaining and bitching and, we're really going to boycott it this time, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is just sitting under Odyssey at 20.61 million units.
Yeah.
Like, shot past Let's Go and the other spin-offs, and it's like, guys, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to catch Mario Kart 8, but I think it could pass Sword and Shield's 25 million by the end of the year.
Yeah, I definitely. I would fully expect it to do that. Honestly,
I mean, they just showed up on there. Like it's quickly outpaced the others. I know Kevin brought it up earlier, but I'm very curious now, looking at the numbers all on a list, how Tears of the Kingdom's going to do against Breath of the Wild's 6-year-ish head start on against its 29 million.
What, like, do you think it'll like get there? It's tough, right? With like late generation. Well, we don't know what the end of the generation is actually for Switch, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This could come out the gate gangbusters. I really don't know.
Do we want to, should we put out guesses right now, and then in a year when this comes up, we can revisit this?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This time. Okay. Well, okay. Let's just say May 2024 then. Well, how much will it sold in a year's time? Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll say it will sell 17 million.
What about you, Steve?
I'll be bullish-ish and say 21 million.
Okay.
I was going to say 25, and now I feel like I'm being overly ambitious.
No, I mean,
Is
I
20
think I think I'm lowballing, honestly.
Although if we were doing like Price is Rights rules, I should do like $1 more than what Steve said. But I won't. I won't do that.
Don't be a jackal.
I'll say 25 million.
Okay.
In the meantime, here I'm going to set a reminder in my phone for May 2024 for us to revisit it, or I'll just see it show up in my phone. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it's like Zelda 2024 sales. It's like, what? Okay. We want to blow through some of the topics we saw in the Sony State of Play last week, which some people, I guess most people, as they typically are State of Play, were disappointed by. I thought it was pretty good. I guess pretty good is probably a little strong, but there was definitely stuff I was interested in, but there was stuff I was like, So you guys want to run through this stuff with me real quick, basically? Like, let's just start with all the VR stuff up front. Like, look, I get that it's probably the most satisfying thing to do in VR is shoot people, but like, why were all the games shooting people? It's like, can we do something else?
Give me a gimmick. For the love of God, please give me a gimmicky game. Like, how about you're a chef in a ritzy space bistro, and we got to work with volatile ingredients. Like, we got to pour shit just so it explodes, or you got a live thing in a cage, and you got to smack it with your frying pan. You know, anything that's not shooting something to death, because that's what all of these games were.
Okay, I thought it was just me, but I was just like,
all of them were shooting a thing, except for last year's Call of the Ladder.
What was this thing that was alive in the cage that you're hitting with a frying pan, though?
That's why we're in space. It's an exotic ingredient. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Steve's wild animal testing facility for frying pan durability.
I think you're reading a bit too much into this, but
America's Test Kitchen, but in space, like we're testing frying pans. I don't think any of us are rich. Well, I guess I always forget Kevin has a PSVR, actually.
But again, I always have to emphasize that I got this for like $150 used. It was a impulse buy because somebody was getting rid of it for cheap. So I guess bringing it back to the State of Play, I did think Green Hell, which is that rainforest survival game, looked interesting enough. And I do have a little bit of FOMO after seeing like Gran Turismo 7 in VR. But to be like completely honest, I think if this was half of the $550 US dollar asking price, I don't think I would be interested at that price point. And they've already said that interest in this has been lower than they were expecting. So I don't think I'm flying solo there.
What? Who are they? That's what I want to know in all this, because I want to know who's sitting around a boardroom saying, "Oh yeah, everyone's going to love buying a PlayStation 5 twice so they can have VR."
Yeah, some people might. It ain't me, but it has nothing to do with the price, honestly. Like if I cared, I would find a way to scrap that money together, right? I just don't particularly care, so it's whatever. I don't know how to say the name of this game, but it's a game that's coming out on PlayStation Plus next month. Steve, maybe you can say it.
Yes, it's called Tchia, and I only know that because the helpful narrator lady said it like 5 times as she was telling us it's going to be debuting next month on the 21st, and it's included with our premium subs.
Which brings me to Tchia, Tchia.
You know, like the pets.
Yes, I know. I'm just spelling it for the audience.
Yeah, them. You guys having fun so far?
I hope they are.
So you think us and the audience at home will make it super popular like Stray was released under similar circumstances?
You know, I mean, it has the potential. I never thought Stray would... Well, I mean, I guess I should have guessed because cat game, right? Where you could really do cat things. But this doesn't look as interesting gameplay-wise as Stray, to me anyway. But it does look like the kind of premium indie experience that I think is really important to these services. I think that, like... You know, everyone's looking for Ori and the Blind Forest or a Cuphead, or you need that stuff, and Microsoft has been good at that stuff. Every company, honestly, every platform holder, I should say, has been good at that stuff recently. But to put it for free on PS Plus is a great thing. So this doesn't really happen anymore. But Kevin, do you remember like the early days of PlayStation Plus, like 2013, 14, and shit? Like when PS4 first came out, like they would give you an indie game practically every month. Now it wouldn't be like something like Tchia, something that high production, but it would be something. I mean, shit, I even remember like Binding of Isaac coming out on PlayStation Plus, like debuting, and even like Rocket League. I've never paid a cent for Rocket League that I didn't want to pay for, and now it's free to play. But before, when you had to pay for it, I had it because of PlayStation Plus. You know, like I think that stuff is so important. So I hope more stuff like Stray and Tchia and like other things like that can happen more often, because I think that's kind of an underrated thing that we forgot about of Sony that they used to do.
It's a little bit weird now with everybody's got their like premium service. It seems like almost by design, a lot of months that the free just like, you know, base plus plan games are dialed down in an effort to incentivize people to want to sign up for the Royale with Cheese service.
Do you think so? Maybe a little bit, but I don't feel like the monthly stuff is any worse than it has been the last like couple of years. I don't know. Not to me anyway. But I guess your mileage will vary. There was that game Humanity, which I didn't know was made by what's the studio? They make like Rez and shit, right?
They said right off the bat, from the people who brought you Tetris Effect.
Oh, gee, maybe I should like fucking pay attention to the state of play, huh, Andre? What the Jesus Christ?
And I don't know who those people are either. But so,
but I bought Tetris Effect Connected. I did the PS5 upgraded version actually a couple days ago. Holy shit! Woo, baby! If you have yourself a good TV and the DualSense stuff, it comes together. I tell you what. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. This game, Humanity looks cool, but it'll probably piss me off. But I want to try it.
Let's call it for what it is. It's Choo Choo Rocket with people. Is what
it definitely
looks
is Choo Choo Rocket with people.
It does look like that, yeah.
And Choo Choo Rocket used to piss me off. I guess. Okay, Steve, I think you were also confused about Baldur's Gate as I was, because I thought it was like, because I know there was like a Baldur's Gate 3 coming out, but I was like, this doesn't look like Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, wait, yes, it is.
Okay, I know what Baldur's Gate is. I've never actually played one. So when I'm looking at this trailer and it just says Baldur's Gate, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a remake. And I guess I knew about Baldur's Gate 3, and I guess that was what I thought was a shield in the background was just Roman numerals for 3 that I saw online later, and that's why I got it all crossed out like I did here. I'm like, okay, Baldur's Gate remake, that'll be fun. And then I'm looking online when I'm trying to compile the list for real. I'm like, oh, Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, that's how much Steve knows about video games. Everybody,
they should have just done the Black Ops 4 thing where they just had 4 eyes or whatever because they didn't give a fuck.
For me, that wasn't as bad as the next game. They showed Wayfinder, which I don't know. I felt like they were trying to sell me a timeshare. It's an online world for you and your friends.
Was that the fake WoW? Was that the thing that looked exactly like WoW?
Pretty much.
Oh, boy.
The guy was talking with a certain enthusiastic cadence that indicated that they might break his thumbs if enough of us don't subscribe in the next year.
I mean, good. I don't care about his thumbs. Who the hell is he?
Yeah, he should have made better decisions.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
Watch what voice acting jobs you take here, Steve.
Lock up your apes.
hide your apes.
So how about Street Fighter 6? I know Andre is about Tekken 8 and graphics on PlayStation 5, but I'm about Street Fighter 6. And as much as I'm about Street Fighter 6, I'm not about seeing trailers for everybody I know about already. Yeah, thanks, Zangief. I know, thanks.
That was a great demo. I thought
it was.
And by the way, they knew exactly what they were doing with that Zangief trailer. I tell you what. I mean, demoing him against E Honda was a choice. That's all I gotta say. That was a lot of meaty man at once happening.
That awakened a memory in me where I have the player's guide for I have the player's guide for Mario Paint. And they give you, one of the more advanced stamp pixel things they teach you how to make is Zangief versus E Honda in the bathhouse.
Oh boy!
Like how to make the Zangief sprite and the Honda sprite and all their and all this stuff they do. I'm like, And looking at all that in retrospect, somebody at Nintendo Power probably had way too much fun figuring out how to make all those stamps.
I mean, I was going to say, when you said awakened, I thought you were going to say Zangief awakened something else in you.
No.
Okay. I mean,
Cammy, on the other hand.
I got a strong feeling this episode is going to wind up titled "That Was a Lot of Meaty Man Happening."
I mean, it might. Meaty men. We are meaty men on the show. That's how you get on Fine Time. Like I said, we have thick dude energy. This Resident Evil 4 remake trailer. So like, I was going to give this game a chance. I really was, even though I've never liked it. But I'm sorry. After I saw this, to quote Black Panther, is this your king? Huh? Everybody, this is the greatest game of all time, huh? What a fucking joke this trailer was. I'm not interested at all.
What? Okay, what? Just like clearly articulate exactly what you hated so much about this, because I don't get it.
It looks so fucking stupid. I wish I could like pick out one thing. Why are you on minecarts like shooting barrel? Like what's going on? How is this Resident fucking Evil?
How is any of the other games Resident fucking
Oh, get
evil?
out of here. Get completely out of here. We just played Resident Evil 2 remake. Like, or come on.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, horror and silliness are they're fucking. So and they're really getting intimate here. So this is fine. And I was actually kind of worried that, they were kind of taking this too seriously, but now I'm not. Now I'm all about it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I really liked Resident Evil 4 on GameCube. I wasn't that keen on this, again, because I just didn't want to open myself up to more criticism about my ammo count. But after I saw this trailer, I was, this is, if ammo is plentiful, this is something I'll probably play.
Oh, ammo will be plentiful. That's Resident Evil 4 all fucking right. If it does anything, it does that. God, why am I so mad at this? I probably need to explore my feelings here. I don't know.
I hate a game that I already hate. I'm so mad.
But you know what? I was trying to give it a chance, though. I think that's why I'm mad. I seriously, I was interested in this before I saw this trailer. Now I am not at all interested in this.
Minecarts just fucked it all up.
Oh, everything in that trailer fucked
What do
it
they
up.
think this is? Donkey Kong Country?
And I saw a segment where you have to play as that stupid girl because the character was definitely being controlled directly.
That was in Resident Evil 4 too.
Okay, but can we not though? Because it's not fun. It's never fun.
It's okay, but it is part of the game. Do you want the authentic Resident Evil 4 experience or not?
No, I want a remake of Resident Evil 4 that's good. Whatever. Okay, fine.
We're going to get one next month.
No, I won't. I'm not paying for this. I'm not paying for this. I'll pay $10 a couple years from now. Maybe. The last thing they showed was Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Everyone's up in arms about this, live service, battle pass, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you guys know I play games like that. Honestly, I really like the way this looked. It looked fun. I want to be a shark with a machine gun. Yeah. It looked like a good multiplayer time. Now, if this is like a retail product for $70 and it has all that stuff, that's probably a bit much. I don't really want to do battle pass stuff in a premium game. But if it's cheap, if it's $40 or 30, sure, I'm here for it. I guess nobody else is though. This just seems like the kind of thing I would like.
I mean, it looks fine. And yeah, I'm over the whole, we can't play offline in the single mode, even though it's mostly going to be online. Yeah. You know how many games do we watch drop dead in the past few months alone? And that line of thinking, I'm just hoping it's good for you, Andre, who wants to play the game. Because looking at this, I'm like, you know what? This is way too much of a time commitment, but everyone else go do you.
Yeah, I'm into it. Honestly, I'm here for this. Kevin, I would imagine you don't give a goddamn.
I hope you like it. I made liberal use of my jump ahead 30 seconds button because I didn't watch this live.
Oh my God.
Squad did. I mean, I nothing. I just don't care.
I get it. I get it. But anything happened? I guess the only thing left we have to talk about is Pokemon Presents. Steve, you want to give us the rundown? I don't think a whole lot really went down, but
we had a creepy Pikachu that punctuated the presentation.
Can I make a confession right now? I loved that thing. That was great.
Oh yeah, he was creepy as hell, but
I loved it.
And we're never going to see him again, but I liked it.
We better. That can't be the only. Come on.
Hey, maybe we'll see him again. But speaking of things I thought we were never going to see again, Pokemon Sleep is real. What do we do now?
Yeah,
they announced that shit before the pandemic. I thought it became Pokemon Brush or whatever that brushing your teeth game was.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that already.
It's real. It's going to work with Pokemon Go. You're going to go to sleep and wake up with Pokemans. Playing is as easy as getting a good night's sleep, proclaims the helpful MC. Have they met the fan base or anyone who's ever played a video game? I haven't had I sleep like 2-3 hours at a clip, guys. Come on. I'm gonna never get good scores at this game or whatever they're gonna use for criteria.
Get good at sleeping.
I just hope you can put in your own sleep schedule to learn it, because I don't want this thing at like 10 p.m. to being like time to go to bed, and it's like I'm not going to bed right now, Pikachu.
I'm at work.
Yeah, I'm barely leaving work. Like, get out of here.
And they also announced another peripheral to go with it. The Pokemon Go Plus Plus. I'm like, oh my god, guys!
Yeah, that was insane.
Of course, Vin pre-ordered one right away. My man, I can't for $55.
It's $55. Yo, that's too much money.
I don't know if the first was $30, and I didn't get that either. But
I have that.
Still,
I got the one with the Let's Go.
I don't know. And yes, as we predicted, well, I predicted anyway, they did save the DLC for here, and I did predict the name of it on a Pokemon show that may be coming very soon. But it's actually on a different release schedule than the Sword and Shield DLC, which showed up in summer, fall. This is showing up for fall, winter, like a year later. So do we think they're actually going to, maybe work on the game and, fix it for after, when it shoots past Pokemon Sword and Shield, or nah?
They would have to like literally retexture the whole game and look at it. So I don't think so. I think it's just going to have to be what it is this time.
I mean, I'm still proud of myself for naming one of the expansion packs, but
I guess we'll find out. Well,
you'll find out soon.
All right. On the other side of this break, we have a few things. I'm going to got with Pokemon Real or Fake, and we'll talk about Switch successor wishes right after this. All right, we're back, and it is time for me to got, I guess, right, Steve? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm sorry.
I think the last time we did this was October. We did some spoopy ones, Pokemon Real or Fake.
You did, and I have another theme for us today. It was going to be post-Valentine's originally, but now it's going to be Steve saw a cocaine bear yesterday, because these are all bear Pokemans.
There can't be that many. There cannot be that many.
Oh, there's enough of them to make a list, and we're going to find out which ones you can suss out.
Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Okay. Well, all right, here we go. In case you haven't listened to this before, this is exactly what it sounds like, Pokemon Real or Fake. I sit here while Steve pelts me with Pokemon names that could be real or not real, and I guess what they are, while Kevin laughs uproariously at my shitty answers. So, and sometimes I phone him as a friend, but we'll see what happens this time. All right, Pokemon Real or Fake. Here we go. Give me my first one, Steve.
Your first one is Stuffle. Stuffle.
Stuffle. There's no way. So why am I already here, Kevin? I'm already like, there's no way that's real. Okay. Stuffle is fake, Steve.
Stuffle is real.
Oh my God, no! This is happening already.
Is Stuffle pink?
Partially.
Okay, I think I've seen Stuffle before.
Maybe.
See, and that's why Kevin can't play. He has played marginally more Pokemans than I have. So, like, he would actually be, like, somewhat good at this. I have no clue. I played Blue back in the day, and I played Diamond. I could not tell you barely any that are in there.
Well, if you come to me for any I do know, I'll plead the fifth.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Wouldn't that just insinuate that that's a real... Never mind.
Yeah, we won't think about it too much. Okay, next Pokemon, Steve, hit me.
Teddiursa. That's Teddiursa.
Teddiursa. Oh, boy. I'm feeling kind of real. Which means it's fake. God damn. I'm going to go first thought, best thought. I'm going to say Teddiursa is real.
Teddiursa is real.
Okay. Thank you, God. Is Teddiursa pink?
No, he's kind of just a brown teddy bear.
Oh, wow. That's kind of creepy. Sort of. Does it have a knife?
Only if you give her one.
Does it look like Teddy Ruxpin?
Not really.
I'm glad you knew what a Teddy Ruxpin was. Because that would have fallen real flat. Okay, hit me again, Steve.
Grizzlord. Grizzlord.
Grizzlord. Are you sure this isn't a Grizzlord is not a shmup by Renovation or Telnet Japan? Grizzlord for Genesis?
Hey, Game Freak liked to play lots of video games. Maybe that's where they got the name from.
Grizzlords of Thunder? Grizzlord is fake because I want it to be real. I feel like Grizzlord is fake, Steve. Final answer.
Grizzlord is fake.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Whoa, over 50% average so far.
This never happens. Oh, boy. Okay. Let's see if I can maintain this. Hit me again.
We got Beartick. Beartick.
Beartick. Can we spell it for me, please?
Beartic. Beartick.
Beartick. Thank you for the cheerleader cadence. I enjoyed that. Kevin, I don't know about this. This is a Beartick?
I originally thought he said Bear Tech, and I thought sounded real.
Well, Bear Tech is definitely like one of the companies who ported Zoop to Jaguar or Jaguar CD or something. I'm sure. Now owned by Monotone Games. I'm going to say Bear Tech is real.
Beartick is real.
Whoa! Shit! We're hitting 750 today so far. Damn! Yogi Berra up in this bitch. Okay, hit me again. Let's see how far we can take this.
Pangoro. Pangoro.
Pangoro. I feel like it's cheating if I ask you to describe the bear to me, but I don't feel like you should do that.
I shouldn't, no.
I mean, God, that's just, I feel very lost right now. I feel lost in space. Maybe I should find me a Teddiursa. Okay, I'm going to say, well, name one more time.
Pangoro.
I'm going to say this is real.
Pangoro is real.
Whoa! Kevin, what the hell is going on today?
I think, are you cheating?
I mean, you guys better ace the next JAV titles, because I tell you what.
I just don't know how this happens when you go like 0 for 9 last time or whatever it was.
I wasn't too bad on the spoopy ones, but I think I did have a losing record. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's keep going, Steve. I'll keep pressing my luck here.
Beware.
Beware?
Beware.
Oh no, this sounds so real. That sounds exactly like something they do. Fuck it. I'm just gonna say real.
Beware is real.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. Crown me right now. I almost want to stop while I'm ahead. Jesus. Okay, you know what? I got to keep going till I lose. Or until you run out. Just hit me again. Hit me again.
Curmudgeon. Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon?
Curmudgeon.
You know, I've sounds like something. Sounds like I'm leaning fake. But I'm going to go against my better judgment and maybe lose my winning streak here. I'm going to say it's real. Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon is fake.
Oh my God. See, first thought, best thought. I told myself earlier.
I was looking up like really rare species of bears. I'm like, it was like the Kermode bears. There's like 500 of these in Japan. I'm like, there it is.
Oh my God. You did some research. Okay. You know what? Let's do one more. You got one more?
Oh yeah, hang on. Where is it?
Yeah, pick your best one.
Cub chew.
Say it again.
Cub chew.
Oh my God. Cub chew. How can this... Okay. Typically, Kevin, I go by my criteria. I want it to be real, so I say that it's real, and I'm going to do that right now. I want this to be real, so Cub Chew is real.
Cub Chew is real.
Oh, yes.
Damn.
Oh, my God. This is... What? I went 7-2, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It was something, yeah.
I didn't get got.
6 and 2 anyway.
Okay, jeez. Wow. I'm never going to do better than this, huh?
You look at you with guiding everyone through the wilderness of Pokemon. No bear attacks for Andre.
Yeah, I know which Pokemon bears are real and fake, apparently. Jesus Christ. Give me a round of applause. I deserve a round of applause right now.
Good job.
Oh my God. That was great. If I don't say so myself, I am literally patting myself on the back right now.
No, that was real good. I thought you were going to choke up much sooner.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
And we didn't have a lot of confidence in you after the last attempt.
I didn't have a lot of confidence in me, honestly. There's no reason why you should have confidence in me. Okay. Well, that was good. Okay, so what we want to move on to now is that we put a mailbag out there. We wanted to know what you guys wanted or didn't want from a Switch successor. And, we can assume it's not around the corner, but it's got to be soon, right? We're about to enter year 7 of Switch here. So, but they got to be, something has to happen soon. And we asked everybody what they want to happen with the next Nintendo console. So I think we're going to start, Kevin, with what we want to see or don't want to see. We're going to start. We didn't tell each other what we were going to say.
No, it's a mysterious surprise.
So, Kevin, I want you to go first. I want you to say your top secret thing of what you do or do not want from the Switch successor. I want to hear yours.
The old Super Switch, eh? Okay.
Oh, boy. You tested my fucking patience already.
Well, I mostly want to talk about what I don't want to see, because what I want is pretty simple. I just want, upgraded, more capable hardware, same base concept and form factor. I want an SSD. I want Joy-Cons that don't drift. Definitely like a minimum 1080 output handheld or on TV. But Here's what I don't want. And this is something that I can possibly see Nintendo doing. I'm not saying I actually think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't put it past them. Nintendo's been fucking around with multi-screen experiences like pretty heavily, especially since, GameCube, Game Boy Advance connectivity, and then obviously DS, 3DS, Wii U, etc. up until Switch. They can't help themselves. They just love it. I can see them saying we're going to do a dock unit where the console doesn't actually need to be docked to stream video, claiming no loss in fidelity or input lag or whatever. So if you're playing Metroid Prime 4, you can stream the main screen onto the TV and use a Pro controller while the Switch just lays there. Or you can hold your Switch and have a mini map displayed on it. Or if you're playing Nintendo Land Redux, you can have a multi-screen experience where video from the handheld unit is displayed both on the unit and then a different viewpoint on the TV. And I'm not like shitting on multi-screen experiences 100% saying they have no value, but functionally, like the Switch is definitely the most traditional playing console that we've seen from Nintendo since the GameCube. And Nintendo's at the top of their game. All of their big name franchises have had arguably their best releases on Switch. And I just think a lot of times developers don't feel inspired from this whole multi-screen concept. So at best, they say let's throw a mini map in, or at worst they implement some sort of second viewpoint that winds up being detrimental to the gameplay.
It feels like every third-party Wii U game just had the same thing running on the screen itself, just the same view, which is pretty much all it was used for a lot of games, which I guess has its uses if you want to, you want to change the TV to something else, but then you have to look at that little shitty screen and play, New Super Mario Brothers U, so it's not that great. But yeah, I hope they don't do that either. I think I agree. I want to go last. So Steve, why don't you say your top secret thing, the thing you do or do not want to see from a successor to Switch?
Man, I feel like we're kind of cheating because, well, I'm a person of habit, and I've been loving my Switch lately. So I also kind of really just want more of the same, but better from my Switch. And if I really wanted to add one thing, maybe a Switch Pro Controller Plus with resistive triggers, for me, just for me and no one else.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I can't use it. Only you can use it.
Yeah, just for me.
Okay.
Well, other people can use it too, but All
right.
They made it explicitly for Steve.
Okay. I know I know you've been talking in the third person a few times, and I know you're serious. I know that serious time. So I know they made it for you. That's it though. Adaptive triggers like a DualSense.
I mean, Kevin pretty much hit everything else I'd want on the head. Like it'd be nice to, have an improved battery life or all those other things, but I love my Switch. I just want it to be, when we finally get the next thing, I just want more of it.
Well, I kind of have like 1.5 answers. Half answer because it's something that's never going to happen. And I would just love to see like an actual full spec Nintendo console again. Like the last time they did that was GameCube. And it was great. They competed with everybody on the power front. Can you imagine Kirby and the Forgotten Land if it was on real hardware? Holy shit. Right? Like, and again, I'm that's not a diss to Switch, real hardware, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I do wonder about those things. God, what if Tears of the Kingdom could have the power of God knows what, better than a PS5 at this rate if they put out a new console, right? Like, I think about those things a lot.
Like you're saying your preference would be just a strictly dedicated home console with no portability factor.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I would want.
Interesting.
But I know that's never going to happen. I just, you know what I mean? But that's if I had it my way, that's what I would do.
It just sounds really impossible given that the handheld always sells more.
Yeah, but like we could continue Switch. That doesn't mean Switch has to go away. If you still want to put out quote unquote handheld games on Switch that are of lesser power, you can, right? Switch doesn't have to die.
I think one of the biggest things they don't want to go back is like fragmenting their development resources between handheld and home console.
Yeah.
I think that's been their biggest boon is to have everybody sailing under one sale.
That was a big problem during the time you weren't paying attention during the console that doesn't exist to you.
No, I was paying attention. That's why it didn't exist to me. No, I get it. I know that's unrealistic, but honestly, and I'm going to go to one of our listener submissions here because they said the same thing I said. Friend of the show, Trey at Internet Trey on Twitter said the exact same thing I wanted, which is more realistic. And I'll just quote him. He says, no matter what, it has to have an SSD. Doesn't matter what it is, handheld, console, or both, it has to have one. That is my absolute number one wish for a Switch successor, a hybrid console. It's got to have the NVMe SSD, just like PS5. It has to, guys. It has to. You agree? I mean, Steve, it's gotta.
I'm getting more spoiled by my PS5 things by the day.
Yo, man, loading Octopath like straight into my save, like no bullshit. I mean, so good. Just everything though about it that you can do with an SSD, and it's not just fast loading. It opens up game development to things that we can never do before. We have to worry about seek times. You don't have to worry about them, especially on a handheld console. Great stuff. That's something it has to have. Yeah. So with that though, I'm just going to read pretty much all the responses we got to our thread here on asking people on Twitter. And thank you for all submissions too. This is great of you guys. And I'll just read them and we could just kind of peanut gallery, see what we think of each thing. Right. So Hams and Castle on Twitter, he says, with the Steam Deck, I think Nintendo needs to innovate more than ever. A more powerful Switch 2 isn't the answer. What I want is more fun, whether that's in the form of peripherals, control schemes, controller layouts, etc. Whatever is next needs to be way different. And you know what? I agree with him, actually. Because, and not necessarily on the Steam Deck part, I don't think Nintendo needs to catch up to Steam Deck. I do think this needs to be significantly different from Switch. I do not think they can 3DS this and just roll out the same thing but better. I mean, that worked out fine for them, but I think Nintendo's afraid of doing that, guys. And I know you guys kind of want that, and I wouldn't mind that either. If that's what it is, and fine, but it may not capture the same imagination again if it's kind of the same thing.
I also have a giant pile of plastic that says that's not going to last very long.
Yeah, and in retrospect, I mean, they also could have done that. I think they look back and said for a successor to the Wii, if we would have done something that actually was closer to the concept of the Wii, or we didn't try and like really fuck with it with the gamepad. Not necessarily stay closer to the concept, but if we didn't try and fuck with it with something so radically different, that was too dangerous. So I think that they're going to be hesitant this time around to make too much of a change.
Yeah, but they gotta. You guys do generally agree, though. They gotta do something. They can't just be the Switch again, right? It can't just be Joy. You can have Joy-Cons and stuff like that. You can have very much the same concept. But you gotta it's gotta look way different.
I don't think so. I think they fucking nailed it so well with the Switch. They've carved out they've really carved out their own niche with it for the consumer that wants that experience. I think it would be the wrong move to I think even doing something as with the 3DS, they needed to add 3D. I don't think they even need to quote unquote add 3D to this.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I would like to see something again, no matter what it is. As long as they keep putting out the games, I don't care, right? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do agree with that. As far as Steam Deck goes, I don't think Nintendo's sweating that at all, in my opinion.
I looked it up when I saw that comment. They barely sold 1 million of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are getting sent back all the time. They're not a competitor in the strictest sense.
Yeah, I don't feel like that either.
It's a vocal fan base, but
yeah. I wouldn't mind one. It's just too goddamn expensive, and I wouldn't use it for much. I think it's a great idea. It just doesn't really fit in my plans for video gaming. Kiefer, friend of the show, Danny Vegito, says backwards compatibility. Hell, it can go to the PS4 route and use the same online store and everything. 4K output. Kirby. He ends with, of course, it's got to have Kirby. Yeah, backwards compatibility. I mean, it's got to at least have it digitally, right? If the next Switch has a different storage medium, certainly all the old Switch games that you have digitally should work. Just like a Vita situation, all your digital PSP games worked. I feel like that's gotta definitely be a thing.
It'd be too stupid not to. Too many people bought a Switch to ignore that market entirely.
Yeah. Gamersperience podcast at Gamersperience on Twitter says this: successor to the Switch, how about a mobile PC and not just a game rig? I feel standalone consoles are already on borrowed time, and with the development of single board computers and rapid rise of smartphone use, game only hardware will become far less attractive. Bro, I'm sorry, I don't agree with this at all. Wasn't this the argument 10 years ago when like PS4 and Xbone were coming out? Saying like, oh, all this second screen stuff and like smartphones and like people just want to play Farmville on Facebook now. They don't want real games. That proved not to be true. And I feel like we said this in the 90s too. It's like, this and that is the future, or VR. And I feel like we're always trying to look past the console and not realize its function in society, basically. So quite frankly, I don't agree with this.
Remember that one investor however many years ago that was wondering why he couldn't pay $1 to make Mario jump higher?
I don't remember that at all, but like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what that has to do with this though.
No, the way we were saying mobile and Farmville, I'm like remembering that whole time where everyone thought mobile's the future of video games. Everyone's going to be playing video games on their phone forever.
Yeah, I just don't buy the console is dead thing. I've never bought it at any point in history, and I don't buy it now. So it's just me. Kevin, I'm sure you agree.
I'm with you there.
Okay. Dan Castery 13 on Twitter. He says, bigger built-in storage, better battery, bigger screen, better sound, improved grip, backwards compatible, all the way up to Game Boy would be very nice. Just wishing on that one. Dog, they ain't doing that, I gotta tell you. But look, so basically he wants just a better Switch. It's what you guys want too. And again, I mean, it's fine. That'd be fine, but I'd like something a little more exciting than that. Adam Abu Nasser. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know how to say the name here. Adventure Buddy 01 on Twitter. Wider support for standardized USB-C stuff. Faster Wi-Fi standards and background downloads. Automated friend notes like you are Twitter mutuals and you played insert game together on insert date. Custom control profiles assignable and reflected in games. Those are very sensible, like system level things. Honestly, I think all of those are great ideas, especially with the you are Twitter mutuals, or because you forget people's names on your Switch. I mean, at least I do. You know what I mean? You kind of have to like, wait, how do I know this person? You know what I mean? Like, and I wish you could see that.
While we're on
stuff.
system level things, can I quickly also add in just overhauling the eShop, because they should have done that like 4 or 5 years ago.
What would you do?
Just definitely like more categorized. I don't like where you've got just games on sale like now trending, and then it's just like the endless scrolling list. I don't know. It just it feels like it's hard to. It's not curated enough. It feels like it's hard
to be curated, and that's what's really upsetting.
Yeah, it used to be somewhat more curated. Well, because it was smaller too. There wasn't as many games on there.
Even just the like, because the on sale is where I'm usually looking, and there's so much bullshit like 9 cents garbage in there. And if you scroll down, there's some like good stuff in there, but it's fucking 2 minutes of scrolling to find it. I wish they could just like have it a little bit clearer. If you want to have your like fucking junky less than $1 games in its own section, that would be nice.
Well, you're too good for Hentai Goblin Party, Kevin.
I know, right? Oh, you know what? Of course, the game is rated mature. But the only descriptor is nudity. It's literally, it says nudity next to the M. There's no other descriptor. I've heard people say this about the eShop before, and I get it. Look, even when I go on there weekly to see what the Arcade Archives game is, I kind of have to scroll weird, you know what I mean? Because a lot comes out every Thursday. I just want to see the Arcade Archives game sometimes.
I go into the PS5 store, I'm so much happier.
Yes, it is a much better storefront. I always felt that way, and the PS4 one was as well. Okay, then says Lucentai, at Lucentai, of course. Hard for me to speculate what they might do. I think full digital backwards compatibility with the existing Switch library is a baseline expectation. I don't think that's out of line, and 4K output should be a given. I guess it would be good to keep the same game card form factor, he says. Now, that I don't see happening, actually. It may be a situation where a Switch game card can fit in that same slot, almost like a Game Boy Advance can fit a Game Boy. It sticks out, but you know what I mean? You can do it. But I don't think it'll be the exact same form factor at all, if you ask me.
I just couldn't tell you. I mean, a while ago I would have said, "Oh yeah, no problem," but now I have no idea.
I guess I don't know enough about. Okay, so if we are moving towards an SSD, which you would expect, is there now like a limiting factor just in the like cartridge write speed with the Switch card? I don't know.
See, I don't know either, but I don't think. I'll put it this way: I don't think the seek time on the Blu-ray drive in the PS5 is any faster than PS4. I just think they're using the SSD factor to really amp that up. So maybe on Switch, you will have to install all the games off the card, just like you do on PS5 off the disc. You have to install the full thing. And then that will, because that's the only way you can fully take advantage of the hard drive. You have to do that.
God, that could get dicey too then, because if we're talking about SSDs, I mean, to have like a secondary slot to be able to like add an expansion drive within a handheld, if that's what it is. I don't know. There's a lot of like weird logistical things that come into play here.
It would need to be easy to do that, unlike everyone else where it's like, oh yeah, just buy 5 of these on sale or whatever for $500 a pop and change them out when you get too many games.
Well, Nintendo has the advantage on this SSD thing because they've come down in price a lot the last couple years, right? Since PS5 has come out, right? And it's, by the time they have the Switch successor, they can really put a good one in there. They can't get away with putting a 32 gig like SSD. It's got to be more than that.
But the Nintendo's also going to be more prone to like really want to keep the hardware costs down. I don't think as much as I would love if Nintendo would come out and say, we're going to release a upgraded Switch for $500 American, and it's got all the fucking bells and whistles, but they're just not going to do that, and I understand why. That would be great for us. That's not great for everybody.
I wouldn't put it past them if they want to do like a super premium model like that. I actually wouldn't say that's out of line.
Yeah,
personally.
maybe if we're talking about like multi-tiered models at launch, that might be a thing, but as the standard, I don't think it would fly. I also want to talk about Vin talking about 4K. So if this is like a hybrid handheld, is 4K, is that too much? I feel like that might be too much to ask.
I don't think it's too much to ask. 4K dock 1080p handheld. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Or even if we want to dream 1440p handheld, but that seems like a little out of line. I would be fine with 1080p handheld.
Yeah, that's plausible to me.
Our friend Manic Socratic on Twitter, a friend of the show, has been on the show, says larger onboard storage, 250 gigs minimum, perhaps a 512 gig Model 2. That's exactly what we were just talking about, actually. So I think those, honestly though, Kevin, if they really release a 256 and a 512, do you really think that would be, I mean, they did that with Wii U, but that wasn't the reason why that thing flopped.
Yeah, I think I don't think that they would do 256. I think 512 would be the smallest that they would launch with.
Okay.
I think it would be. I just don't feel like 256 for a console is viable in 2023.
All games render at 1080p 60, especially backwards compatible titles. That's something I'm really interested in. Do you think, like, come on, it would be so great if we could, like, pop in, like, Age of Calamity and play at 60 frames a second? That would blow my mind. There's no reason why they can't do that stuff. Come on. Like, if Xbox has those, like, games that you could bump to 60 or even 120 sometimes, right? Like, just full-on backwards compatibility that way.
I don't know at all. I remember, like, I think this is an older thing, but you used to hear about like gameplay mechanics being tied to like relying on 30 FPS in some cases. Is that still a thing anymore?
That can be a thing still. Yeah, that can be a thing.
I suppose it would have to be like a case by case thing.
Yeah, but those are really old games that have that. Like, that's why they couldn't put Super Mario Sunshine at 60 on Switch, because they had to, like, you know what I mean? I had to stick to that. Even though the game was playing that way, if you look at an old Space World, the Super Mario Sunshine is 60 frames a second. They cut it down to 30 before release. So, but they probably tied a lot of things into that. So, yeah, I get it. But for, like, newer games, I don't think that should be nearly as much of an issue. That should just be a slider, like, turn these settings all the way the fuck up, personally. Pro controller packed in, he says. What do you think, actually? Not Joy-Cons as default. I mean, you can still have Joy-Cons, but maybe if I sell that deluxe thing, the 512 model comes with a Pro controller?
With adaptive triggers in Steve's box?
Just yours.
Yeah,
Just
mine.
yours. That says Steve.
Yes.
So fucking selfish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
No, I mean the rest of you can have one too, but they'll be like, we almost lost Steve. He got a PS5 because the PS5 had adaptive triggers. We can't do this again.
So does my box still say Steve's box?
No, but you know how there's that when you flip up the right stick, it has that gamer's rule message on there. Mm-hmm. You're gonna fold up the stick this time. It's gonna be like, thanks, Steve.
Wow. Finally, Joe, or friend Joe, at an aging punk on Twitter says, there's not really any accounting for what Nintendo will do. When we think they should zig, they usually zag. That said, they found a winning formula. If the next system is just the Super Nintendo Switch, then I'll probably be happy. Joe, please do not say Super Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, why did you do that? You made me say that out loud. Okay?
You're on the right side of history, Joe. Thank you.
Oh, my Lord. Well, he's right, though. They zag when we think they're going to zig. And again, Kevin, I really hope they do something different here. It's got to look different. It's got to look different. It has to look different.
What would your follow-up look like then?
I don't know. I'm shitty at designing stuff like that. I honestly don't have a mind for it, I'll say. But
don't ask the guy that likes the PS5 design.
Oh, it's great. You guys suck. The PS5 looks phenomenal.
I think I'm more excited to see what the Switch hardware successor is than I've ever been to see what the new next thing is from a console manufacturer.
I think the last time I was really geeked on something was probably Wii, just because that was so wild at the time. Because it was like, what the hell are they doing? I was like, is this a console still? What are they doing? That was, I think that was just from pure curiosity factor. That was wild. So, but as far as following up a system that's been so great, maybe the best Nintendo console, we could debate that sometime. This has just been, I don't know. Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. I didn't mean to sound like a Japanese translated presentation where they dub over, please look forward to it.
the Super Nintendo Switch game.
Which one? Steve's?
For everyone.
Okay, thank you for allowing us to play Super Nintendo Switch games, even though I hope it's never called that. Okay, before we get out of here, should it not be called Switch? I think that's probably the big differentiating factor. Maybe we shouldn't use the word Switch. Switch should not be right? And maybe I think they're gun shy from Wii U using the same name.
I think if they're retaining the concept, that they'll retain the name.
Okay.
I'm in that same boat, but we'll freaking see.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your Twitter mailbag submissions. That was great. We're going to get the hell out of here. Join us on Twitter at Find Time Podcast. Look in the bio of Find Time Podcast on Twitter to find our personal names on social media, as well as the description of this podcast. See you next time, guys. Bye.